Good morning, all. As we enter into this virtual service, please note that those of you participating via Zoom have been muted by our host. Also, be advised that our services are being recorded and, with the exception of joys and concerns, will be published online. And also a reminder that those of you in person, please remain masked at all times while in the building. Finally, if you wish, take a quick moment to arrange your own chalice at home. We come together this morning seeking a reality beyond our narrow selves, which binds us in compassion, love, and understanding for other human beings and to the interdependent web of all living things. May our hearts and minds be opened this hour to the power and insight which weaves together the scattered threads of our experience and helps us remember the wholeness of which we are a part. Andy will light the chalice here in the sanctuary. I invite you to light your own chalice and place it where it can be seen by all of us if you are able, those of you at home. At times, our own light goes out and it's rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lit the flame within us and the community. Before we sing the first hymn, let me remind our remote participants to leave yourselves muted, and those of you here in person to keep your masks on. We want you and whoever you were with at home to sing with Mary and Jan as big and loud as you like, but stay muted. Make it a joyous experience. So let's all sing the opening hymn, Hina Matav, number 392.
Hine metovu manahim sheverahim gayat. Hine metovu manahim sheverahim gayat. Hine matov sheverahim gayat. Hine matov sheverahim gayat. How good it is and how pleasant for people to dwell together. How good it is and how pleasant for people to dwell together. Good and pleasant, people in peace together. Good and pleasant, people in peace together. How good it is and how pleasant for people to dwell together. How good it is and how pleasant for people to dwell together. Good and pleasant, people in peace together. Good and pleasant, people in peace together. Hine matovu manayim sheverahim gayat. Hine matovu manayim sheverahim gayat.
Welcome to the Unitarian, first of all, good morning. And now, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. And we are glad you have joined us today. We acknowledge that our UUCC sanctuary stands on land that was once inhabited by coastal Chumash and Salinan indigenous peoples, whose ancestors lived primarily in the San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties. As a Unitarian Universalist community, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who journey in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation inviting speakers from different religious traditions and spiritual or scientific backgrounds to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics and areas of interest to our community that connect with the UU7 principles. Today's service is centered around the first principle, We affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Reverence and respect for human nature is at the core of the Unitarian Universalist faith. We believe that all the dimensions of being carry the potential to do good. We celebrate the gifts of being human, our intelligence and capacity for observation and reason, our senses and ability to appreciate beauty, our creativity, our feelings, and emotions. We cherish our bodies as well as our souls. We can use our gifts to offer love, to work for justice, to heal injury, to create pleasure for ourselves and others. My name is Randy Schwalbe, and I am your worship associate this morning. I would like to extend a special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We're glad you joined us this morning. And if you are not on our mailing list, please visit our website at www.uuccambria.org so that we can keep you informed about all of our activities. And please check out what's happening, a weekly e-blast sent to all of our members and friends. This is a great way to keep up with the latest news in our community. And a reminder, if you wish to see this or any of our past Zoom services, again, recordings of these services can be found on the UUCC website and Facebook as well. The membership committee invites non-members to consider joining our community. Please contact Diane DeMarco or a person on the board if you are interested. Thank you. So again, good morning and welcome to everybody. The affirmation is both a recognition of the nature of our community as well as a promise we make and aspire to. Let us now recite our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom and to help one another. So slow the thumb. Sorry. We set aside this time for any short announcements that would be of interest to our UU community members and friends. Please keep your items short and to the point. For any items that need more explanation, please call or email the person after the service to be respectful of everyone's time. If you have an announcement, please raise your hand. When Diane or I call your name, please stand or unmute yourself and speak. Okay, camera 2, Jan.
Yes, this is Jan. Mary and I are planning this wonderful holiday service on December 24th. And part of that service is incorporating our wishes for the world. We've purchased a beautiful big planet Earth, and we have candles to write your wishes on. So be thinking of something that you would like to write on the candles. And if you can't write it, if you could email your wishes to Mary and I, and we'll put them on the candle and make sure that they get hung on December 24th. Even if they can't attend, Mary says. Yes, so we have plans to have an open house from 5 to 6, and then at 6:15 our service will start, and we have 17 people who will be here in the sanctuary to do that service. They are all participating. So thanks.
Okay, I have an announcement this afternoon at 2:30 at the steps of the Atascadero City Hall. The Atascadero Community Band will be performing its annual holiday concert with a lot of what I call epic arrangements of holiday favorites, including an original piece that I wrote, and I'll be conducting. So if you can make it there, it's 2:30. Just bring lawn chairs, a blanket, whatever, and sit out in the sunken garden and enjoy a great concert this afternoon at 2:30 at Atascadero City Hall. Okay, Diane?
Randy, out over here in AV land, I have a couple of announcements. One, a reminder that this is the Guest at Your Table season, raising funds for the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. And if you have checks you'd like to donate to that, you can mail them to me or drop them off at the sanctuary. If you want to fill your box with coins, I'll collect those as well. You can drop them off at the sanctuary over the course of December. We'll be collecting all that for a January donation. Thank you. And then secondly, an announcement for those of you who might be interested in attending the UUA Pacific Western Region Regional Assembly. That's taking place February 4 through 6. Feb 4 through 6. It's taking place in person in San Diego, but you can also attend virtually, and you can register for that regional assembly at the uua.org website. Thanks.
Jan, I had a question. Is it December 24th? Is it in sanctuary all, or is it hybrid? Hybrid. Thank you. All right, Kat, would you unmute yourself, please, and tell us your announcement?
Hi, everybody. Once again, I'm going to start collecting warm jackets, clean, hopefully, also used socks, clean with no holes, mostly men's. I need mostly men's, but I will accept women's. If I get an influx of women, I'll just take them to one of the shelters. But you can either ask me to come and pick it up at your house, or you can drop it off on Friday between 4 and 5 down at the Peace Corner, which is right on the corner in front of the farmer's market. I'll be down there with Tree Lees every Friday until Christmas. Just wishing everybody good cheer and loving kindness, and you can drop it off there as well. And do come and join us for that hour. Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. And thank you for your providing us the ability to go out and do that with you. I had an announcement as well. In 2 weeks, we're having a circle gathering, and we are asking you to all come and join us in a sharing. And we'd like you to bring a special picture. And that special picture can be anything that you would like, whether you took it or didn't take it, or from way past, or something recent, or something you acquired. Be thinking about a special picture that you'd like to come and share with us as a circle group. All right, Randy, back to you.
Okay, camera 2, Mary.
No, I don't need a camera.
Oh.
I just want to add to Diane's announcement that that's a Zoom circle. Everyone's.
Yeah, it's a Zoom circle. It's from home.
No one will be in the sanctuary that morning.
There'll be no sanctuary action on December 26th.
Thank
Zoom
you.
Service.
Thank you. So it'll be an entire Zoom service 2 weeks from today. Thank you so much, Mary.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Next week, Reverend Kerry Kiyohara from the Makawao Hongwanji Buddhist Temple, located on the Hawaiian island of Maui, will present Awakening the Heart of Compassion for All Life. Don't miss it. Sharing together some of our personal and significant joys and concerns brings us closer as a faith community. We invite you to share the milestones that are deeply felt as part of your personal life, but please be mindful and considerate of all who come to worship with us this morning. This is a time of community building. The collective flames of these candles embody all the joys and sorrows which may have gone unspoken today, but are also deeply felt in this community. The first reading is an excerpt from Celebration, a ceremonial and philosophic guide for humanist and humanistic Jews, titled Hope as a Choice, written by Rabbi Sherwin Wine, founder of the Humanistic Judaism. Hope is a choice, never found, never given, always taken. Some wait for hope to capture them. They act as the prisoners of despair. Others go searching for hope. They find nothing but the reflection of their own anger. Hope is an act of will, affirming in the presence of evil, that good things will happen, preferring in the face of failure, self-esteem to pity. Optimists laugh even in the dark. They know that hope is a lifestyle, not a guarantee. Let us join in a time of meditation, of prayer, and of silence. Let us seek the quiet and the calm, laying aside our struggles. And in the silence, may there be a reverence in our hearts, a thankfulness within our spirit, and a deepened understanding of the meaning of our lives. Let us enter the stillness. Spirit of life, mystery of mysteries, nameless and eternal. Guide us in right relationship with one another. May our community know hope, joy, and resilience. May we continue to grow in our understanding, compassion, and love. Let our hearts, however full of joy or grief, know the connection of one another. This meditation prayer is from The Church as a Body by Victoria Weinstein. The second reading is also an excerpt from Celebration, a ceremonial and philosophic guide for humanists and humanistic Jews, titled Unity, written by Rabbi Sherwin Wein. Our congregation is more than a congregation. It is more than a collection of people. It is a community of friends, an alliance of believers. We are engaged in shared work. We are moved by shared ideals. There is a solidarity of purpose, a union of goals. When we celebrate together. And when we need support, we support each other. Our congregation is more than an institution. It is more than a casual assumption. It is a family of choice, a fellowship of like-minded people. Our bonds are more than convenience and tradition. We have chosen to be here because we want to be here. We have chosen to be here because we need to be here, because standing alone is never as inspiring as standing together. The anthem today is The Great Peace March by Holly Near and will be sung by Jan Kallner. The Great Peace March for Global Nuclear Disarmament was a cross-country event in 1986 aimed at raising awareness to the growing danger of nuclear weapons from the earth. The march, awareness of the growing danger of nuclear proliferation and to advocate for complete, verifiable elimination of nuclear weapons from the earth. The march consisted of hundreds of Americans who convened in Los Angeles in February 1986 to walk from LA to Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. The group left Los Angeles on March 1st, 1986, and arrived in Washington, D.C. on November 15, 1986, a journey of about 3,700 miles, 9 months, and many campsites. Holly Near took part in that march, and here it is.
Ancient eyes are watching in the night. The stars come out to guide the way. The sun still shines despite the clouds. And the dawn is dusk, is dawn, is dusk, is day. Farmers rise and dream to feed the world. The world awakes to feed the heart. Hearts beat while 1,000 flags are waving. And the farmer sees a dream has played a part. We will have peace. We will because we must. We must because we cherish life. And believe it or not, as daring as it may seem, it is not an empty dream to walk in a powerful path. Neither the first nor the last great peace march. Life is a great and mighty march, forever for love and for life on the great peace march. Are you black like night or red like clay? Are you gold like the sun or brown like earth? Gray like mist or white like the moon? My love for you is the reason for my birth. Peace can start with just one heart. From a small step to leaps and bounds, a walk becomes a race for time. And a brave child calls from out the crowd. We will have peace. We will because we must. We must because we cherish life. And believe it or not, as daring as it may seem, it is not an empty dream to walk in a powerful path. Neither the first nor the last great peace march. Life is a great and mighty march, forever for love and for life on the great peace march. Not as daring as it may seem, it is not an empty dream to walk in a powerful path. Neither the first nor the last great peace march. Life is a great and mighty march, forever for love and for life on the great peace march, forever for love and for life on the great peace march.
Wow. Thank you, Jan. Today's sermon is titled Humanistic Judaism and Honoring Human Rights Day, to be delivered by Mary Raskin. The sermon covers the following principles. Principle 1, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Principle 3, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. Principle 4, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And Principle 6, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Mary Raskin is a member of the Kol Shalom Community for Humanistic Judaism in Portland, Oregon. Mary also serves as a national president for the Society of the Humanistic Judaism. She is a certified ritual leader and recently completed her studies to become a humanistic rabbi. She will be ordained in April 2022. Congratulations, Mary.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm honored to be here. And even via Zoom, it's wonderful to be here with you. So today I will be talking about Human Rights Day and Humanistic Judaism. So first, a bit about Humanistic Judaism. Our movement is almost 60 years old and was begun by Rabbi Sherwin Wine in Detroit, Michigan. Our Jewish practices are based on a humanistic and non-theistic approach to traditional Jewish holidays and life cycle events. We create new liturgy based on the ethical core of Jewish history, literature, and culture. Our movement has an umbrella organization, which you heard mentioned, the Society for Humanistic Judaism, and this supports our member communities in the US and Canada. Our movement institute trains humanistic Jewish ritual leaders and rabbis, and we have a sister institute in Israel who also trains and ordains humanistic rabbis. And as you heard earlier, I recently completed the requirements for me to be a rabbi, and my ordination is next April. My community in Portland, Oregon is named Kol Shalom, which means voice of peace, and it was founded about 28 years ago. About 10 years ago, we began to hold a special Friday evening Shabbat as part of a national effort by the North American rabbinic group called Truah, the Rabbinic Call for Human Rights. They launched the first Human Rights Shabbat in 2008. The goals for the Shabbat were to come together to recognize the connections between Jewish values and human rights, and to pledge to honor our obligations to ensure the human rights of every individual. While we are far from the world where the ideals of the Declaration are fully realized, we feel it is important to celebrate this groundbreaking document and its proclamation of shared values of human equality and dignity. So the question is, why celebrate this document in community? And it's because when we gather in our spiritual community, we reflect on the values that are important to us. When we reflect on our values in community, we inspire each other. We give each other hope during uncertain times. We give each other strength when we are tired and burnt out. Today is such a day. Today, we pause in our daily lives in order to revitalize our spiritual batteries to honor human rights. International Human Rights Day is observed every December 10th. It honors the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the document that was signed 73 years ago in 1948. Our goal today is to reacquaint ourselves with the rights spelled out in the Declaration. What are those rights? Do we support those rights? And if we do support those rights, what actions are we taking? And this is the most important question. To support rights means to accept obligations. Rights are meaningless without obligations. Acknowledging these rights, accepting our obligations, and following through with action comes from community. It is in community where we can make change. Our story begins with the formation of the United Nations in 1945, following World War II. In 1946, the UN created the Human Rights Commission. Representing the United States was Eleanor Roosevelt, who also actively participated in the writing of the Declaration. In response to the question of where do universal rights begin, here's how she responded. In small places, close to home, so close and so small that they cannot be seen on any maps of the world. Yet they are the world of the individual person, the neighborhood he lives in, the school or college he attends, the factory, farm, or office where she works. Such are the places where every man, woman, and child seeks equal justice, equal opportunity, equal dignity, without discrimination. Unless these rights have meaning there, they have little meaning anywhere. Unless or without concerted citizen action to uphold them close to home, we shall look in vain for progress in the larger world. The Declaration was originally voted in favor by 48 of the 58 members of the UN. There were no votes against, although 8 abstained and 2 did not vote. Today, there are 192 nations in the UN, and all have signed the Declaration. One of the guiding thinkers behind the Declaration, French jurist and judge René Cassin, used an architectural analogy to describe the Declaration. He compared it to the porch of a classical Greek temple. So think, there's a foundation, steps going up to the platform, 4 columns topped by a triangular wall. The foundation is supported by Articles 1 and 2 with their principles of dignity, liberty, equality, and brotherhood. The steps leading up to the temple are the 7 paragraphs of the preamble, which sets out the reason for the Declaration. The main body of the Declaration forms 4 columns. The first of those columns, Articles 3 to 11, is about the rights of the individual, such as the right to life and the prohibition of slavery. The second column, Articles 12 to 17, involves the rights of the individual in civil and political society. The third column, Articles 18 to 21, is concerned with spiritual, public, and political freedoms, such as freedom of religion and freedom of association. The fourth column, 22 to 27, sets out social, economic, and cultural rights. Finally, the last 3 articles, 28 to 30, provide the triangular top, which binds the structure together. These articles emphasize the mutual duties of every individual to one another and to society. Although the Declaration is not legally binding, its contents have been incorporated into legal treaties and national constitutions. It's influenced legal, political, and social developments on a national and global basis. So now that we know about the kinds of rights that are in the Declaration, our next question is, do we support them? The answer is yes, of course we do. The support for these rights we can see represented in the UU principles and in the values of humanistic Judaism. So specifically, I will compare UU principles 1, 6, and then 3 and 4 together to the preamble, Article 1, and then Articles 18 and 19 together. So UU Principle 1, which we've heard this morning, and Article 1 both emphasize individual rights. Principle 1, we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Article 1, all humans are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in the spirit of brotherhood. UU Principle 6 and the preamble emphasize our world community and the human family. Principle 6 reads, we affirm and promote the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. The preamble begins with, whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and unalienable rights of all the members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. Now, therefore, the General Assembly proclaims this Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations. I grouped UU Principles 3 and 4 with Articles 18 and 19 because they reflect the ideas of freedom of expression and the search for truth. UU Principles 3 and 4 are as follows. We affirm and promote acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. And we affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Article 18 reads, everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes the freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom either alone or in community with others in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. And Article 19, everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. Within Humanistic Judaism, we express similar beliefs in our value statements. For the value of human agency, we say people have the power to achieve global survival, happiness, and dignity using their own abilities. Ethics are determined by the consequences of each action toward the betterment of life. For the value of critical thinking, we rely on science, evidence, reason, experimentation, empathy, creativity, and artistic expression to address Jewish and universal human questions and to help improve the world and ourselves. We are committed to passing these values on to present and future generations through education and by our example. For the value of social justice, we seek a future where the dignity and freedom of every human being is upheld. We must repair the world through community service and by advancing human rights, anti-racism, and the separation of church and state. We have now reacquainted ourselves with the International Declaration of Human Rights. We see that our communities have documented similar values. What comes next? Action through community. It is through community action that we honor our values and obligations. Your community's welcoming and mission statements address that action. In your welcome statement, you endeavor to create a safe and welcoming environment for people of diverse backgrounds to share in their search for truth and meaning. You are united by shared values. Your community is a place to put your beliefs into action to make the world a better place. In your mission statement, you explicitly strive to build community through love, to support spiritual growth, and to promote social and environmental justice. Here are a few of the actions your community took through your social and environmental justice work. Brought new and gently used books to children and families in San Simeon to promote love of reading. Distributed breakfast bags through the SLO County Food Bank to Cambria and San Simeon families. Helped with community-supported food distribution to local families at the beginning of the pandemic. Supplied San Simeon families with locally sewn face masks and hand sanitizer. Distributed blankets and jackets to the homeless community in Cambria. And purchased sturdy plastic bags, socks, personal items, and stacks for homeless residents. And as we heard today, you are continuing this effort. In all these ways, your community has honored the aspirations of the International Declaration of Human Rights. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, we must begin in the small places close to home. And that is what we are doing within our communities. Today, we have honored the Human Rights Day by reaffirming the rights spelled out in the International Declaration of Human Rights. We have shown our understanding of our obligations to those rights by codifying them in our principles and value statements. Our communities show support of those obligations in the programs and actions that we take. The consequences of our beliefs have led to positive action. I will end my talk with a story from the ancient rabbis and the words of a song from a contemporary rabbi. The story is from about 2,000 years ago. After the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, the early rabbis gathered to write their thoughts in a book called the Mishnah. Included in the Mishnah is a chapter called Pirkei Avot, which means Ethics of Our Fathers. This story is from Ethics of Our Fathers. And one more thing I need to tell you is that the early rabbis began their discussions with a question, and so too does this story. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai asked, what is the right way, the best way that a person should conduct themselves? Rabbi Eliezer said, with a good eye, that is to be aware of one's surroundings, to be observant. Rabbi Yehoshua said, as a good friend. Rabbi Yossi said, as a good neighbor. Rabbi Shimon said, as one who sees consequences, that is one who understands the impact of one's words and actions. Rabbi Elazar said, with a good heart. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai carefully considered their words, and then he responded, I prefer the words of Rabbi Elazar because his words, with a good heart, include all of your words. And this is true for your community. It is with all the attributes of a good heart that you support the aspirations of the human rights document. And now here are the words of a song from a contemporary rabbi, Rabbi Wein, the founder of Humanistic Judaism. He also begins with questions. He asks, where is my light? And he responds, my light is in me. He asks, where is my hope? And he says, my hope is in me. Where is my strength? My strength is in me and in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Well put. The morning offering will now be given and received. Please keep in mind that our congregation is entirely self-governed by the democratic process. One of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all of the financial support for our many ministries from among ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and our institutional well-being. You're invited to participate in the blessing of giving. For those at home, please use one of the methods shown on the screen. Thank you. our thanks for all the gifts given and received for the work of this community. Thank you. Let us now sing the doxology.
From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land by every tongue.
Please join in singing the closing hymn, Shalom Chavrim, by Paul Campbell.
Well, no, it's a traditional, yeah,
Hebrew folk song.
Hebrew folk song.
The traditional Hebrew folk song, and additional lyrics were added by Paul Campbell, who was a member
Of the Weavers.
Of the Weavers.
Yeah, okay. One, two.
Shalom Havarim, Shalom Havarim, Shalom, Shalom. Lehitaurot, Lehitraot, Shalom, Shalom. Shalom Havarim, Shalom Havarim, Shalom, Shalom. Lehitraot, Lehitraot, Shalom, Shalom. Glad tidings we bring of peace on earth, goodwill toward all. Of peace on earth, goodwill toward all. Goodwill toward all. Glad tidings we bring of peace on earth, goodwill toward all. Of peace on earth, goodwill toward all. Goodwill toward all, goodwill toward all.
Let us now recite the valediction. The flame of this chalice will no longer burn today, but the light of the flame within our hearts continues to shine brightly, illuminating the love felt in our community. Please extinguish your chalice at home now. After the benediction, please click on the gallery view button in the upper right corner of your screen, but please remain muted. Diana or I will call on you when you raise your hand. Mary.
Sorry, Mary, you're muted.
Thank you. Loving life and its mysterious source with all our heart and all our spirit, all our senses and strength, we take upon ourselves and into ourselves these promises: to care for the earth and those who live upon it, to pursue justice and peace, to love kindness and compassion. We will teach this to our children throughout the passage of the day, as we dwell in our homes and as we go on our journeys, from the time we rise until we fall asleep. And may our actions be faithful to our words, that our children's children may live to know truth and kindness have embraced, peace and justice have kissed and are one.